Good morning. Happy Monday morning to you. It's Monday morning, January 31st, 2022 on the East Coast of the United States of America. So glad that you're able to join me for another edition of the Monday Morning Get Up, the show where we share inspiration, motivation, something to get you up and out your door, get you up and moving for the day, for the week. And yeah, we're going to do that. Do me a favor. If you're on Facebook, if you're on Instagram, if you are on LinkedIn, if you're on YouTube, just say, hey, give me a wave this morning. Hey, Roy Reed. Yeah, you like my beard. I like it too, man. Thank you. I appreciate you. Listen, yeah, I've got a little bit of stuff happening this morning. I had a little bit of an accident. Hey, Leslie, good to see you this morning. I had a little bit of an accident about a week and a half ago, and so I'm kind of recovering from that. And I was going to hide it with concealer, but I decided, you know what, let me be real and just share what's happening in my world. I slipped on some ice and I hit my head on on the sidewalk, and thank God it could have been worse, but I'm here. I'm good. I'm great. So let's lock in this morning. And before we jump into our quote for today, and before we jump into our statement for today, I want you to join me for the Story to Stage Virtual Summit. February 22nd and 23rd. If you are a business owner, if you are a small business owner, if you are someone who needs to create greater visibility with your story, if you need to figure out how you can establish your expertise so that you can attract your ideal audience and have them coming to you, as one of my friends, Molly Mahoney, says, throwing credit cards at your face, right? So that you can transform people's lives. I want you to sign up for the Story to Stage Summit. Head on over to StoryToStageSummit.com. Grab your spot. Dwayne Wood, good to see you. Dwayne Wood, Leslie Freelo, head on over to StoryToStageSummit.com. Aquarius Lady, head on over to StoryToStageSummit.com and get signed up so that you can join us for 2 amazing days, 10 presenters or 10 sessions, 9 amazing presenters. And listen, this is going to be life transformational, life changing. So make sure that you join us. All right, let's jump on in to our quote for today. So our quote for today is, your present situation is not your final destination. Hey, David, your present situation is not your final destination. Said by Zig Ziglar. Now, a lot of us get annoyed by our present situations. Go ahead, raise your hand if you have been in a situation or if you've experienced getting annoyed by your present situation. I remember when I was in college, I had this car. My dad had gotten me this diesel Volkswagen Rabbit. Right? And it wasn't that fast. I mean, I think you got 60 going downhill, but it was my car. It was the thing that I got around campus. I got around my job. It was my car. And one day I remember that for some reason, the fuel gauge wasn't working as best as it could have. But I knew how much gas, or I had diesel, I knew how much fuel I had in the fuel tank. So I would kind of gauge it and say, okay, yep, this is how far I need to go. Now, one day, my cousin, who was my roommate, decided or asked if he could borrow my car to do something. And cool, no problem. I reminded him, I said, hey, this is what the situation is. Can you put some diesel in it? So my cousin, he's like, yeah, cool. And he drives the car, he goes about his business, does his thing, and brings the car back, gives me the keys. I'm working an overnight job at the time. And so I get the car back from him and I'm like, okay, cool. I go to work and I go to work overnight. I work from 11 to 7. And the next morning I'm coming home, driving home. It's about 7:15 in the morning. And I'm about 4-5 miles maybe from our campus. I'm driving down the street, Langan Road, David. I'm driving down this road. And all of a sudden, the car just cruises to a stop. So when this happens, I'm thinking at first, I don't know what's going on with this car. I'm wondering if the car had broken down, if there was something wrong with the engine, if there's something wrong with the vehicle that, and I'm not a mechanic, so I don't know how to fix this thing. And I'm in the middle of a road, not one of those main streets. It's a back road. There's no street lights, and it's not dark at the time. It's morning. Okay. But there's not a lot of people. There's not a lot of traffic on this road. So I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do. And then it occurs to me, oh my gosh, my cousin drove the car. Did he put fuel in it? Now, as I think about this, I begin to walk, and I start to walk towards the campus. And, I'm not upset at this point. I start to walk towards the campus, and I'm about 4 miles from the college. And so I'm just walking, and I'm wondering what the scenario is, what the situation is. And about a mile and a half into my walk, somebody saw me, and they picked me up. I told them what the situation was. They took me to a gas station. I got a container, came back to the car a little while later on and put the diesel in it. And after putting about a gallon in, I just go in the car and I start it, and it comes to life, and I'm able to drive back. Now, this is probably a miracle, because a lot of people, if your car runs out of gas or runs out of fuel, when you put gas in it, sometimes there could be air in the fuel line, and different things can happen. But that didn't happen in my case. I was able to pour it in, car was able to start right up, and we were able to go. Now, here's the thing, and here's why I'm sharing this story with you. When you are in a situation like that, you give some instructions, and then a situation or circumstance happens in your life. You're faced with some decisions. You're faced with some choices, right? You've got an option to get mad. You can get mad about it. You can thrash around. You can do all of that stuff. You can get mad about it. Or I could have stayed in the car. That's an option. Right? I could have walked away from the college. That was another option. Now, as I mentioned just now, I could have stayed in the car. What would I have done staying in the car? Well, I could have stayed in the car and written a note complaining about how irresponsible my cousin was, right? Or I could have said, you know what, let me research the Volkswagen company and complain to them about their fuel gauges. I could have done that. Or if it was 2022, I could have gone on social media and bashed Volkswagen, tried to cancel Volkswagen, or talked about what an idiot or irresponsible, or how irresponsible my cousin was. And here's what happens in a lot of our spaces. In a lot of words, tell me if you've seen this before. Stuff happens in people's lives. Stuff happens in our lives. And because of the situation we're in, because we're emotional about the situation, because we take the situation personally, we decide that we are going to stay inside of the situation, and we're going to extend the situation by complaining about it, by going on social media and posting about it and doing all of these different things about it. But Zig Ziglar says, listen, your present situation is not your final destination. And I'm going to add some words to it, unless you allow it to be. Your present situation is not your final destination unless you allow it to be. And even that, unless you allow it to be, is not fully true. So I've got some choices here. I can stay in the car, I can get mad, I can complain, or I could begin moving towards my final destination. Right? That's the other choice that I have. And here's what happens. Many times people choose to stay where they are and blame others about where they are, because it's easier to do that than to admit you're scared about where you're going, or that you don't know where you're going, because that's the challenge for a lot of us, right? We're unclear about our next steps. We're unclear about how we're going to move past this current situation. We're unclear about why we're here. We're unclear about how to move forward, or what the next exact situation is going to look like. And so because of that uncertainty, because of what feels like discomfort and chaos, we begin to blame or we begin to complain about the situation. So let me share two more things with you. I want to share two things with you, and then we're going to wrap for this morning, right? So even if you choose to stay in your current situation, it won't stay the same as you want it because life is built to move. And here's what I want you to hear. Life is either going to upgrade you or degrade you. Right? Life is going to either upgrade you or degrade you. I'm a former science teacher, and here's what happens. Energy dissipates. Everything deteriorates unless you look to intentionally grow it. Think about your muscles. If you don't exercise, your muscles degrade, right? They don't stay the same. You don't go to the gym and you say, okay, I can lift 150 pounds now. I can lift 200 pounds now. And your muscles, after you do that, you can just stop exercising and you stay the same after that. No, your muscles will get weaker or degrade if you don't continually put in the work to grow them, right? Everything deteriorates unless you intentionally look to grow it. And that is this principle. As I mentioned, I'm a former science teacher. There's this principle called entropy. And what that means is that everything over time dies, right? Everything over time loses energy, or the energy is transferred to something else, or it's converted to something else. So life is that way. Life is not static. Life doesn't remain the same. And even if you decide that you're comfortable and you don't want to leave your comfort zone and you want to stay right where you are, that's just not how life is. Life doesn't stay the same. It might feel to you like it's staying the same, but it's actually degrading. It's the same as going to a car dealership. The moment that you take the car off the lot, the car begins to deteriorate, or the car begins to lose value. It begins to depreciate. That's how life is. Right? That's how it is. So even when you feel like you're comfortable, you're still in a state of decline, unless you're intentionally choosing to grow. So the second thing that I want to share with you, and then we're going to leave this morning, is how you approach your current situation determines the speed at which you get to your destination. How you approach your current situation determines the speed at which you get to your destination. So if I go back to the situation with my car is out of fuel. I can sit there and whine and complain about it, or I can begin walking towards my destination. Right? And here's what happened. I began walking. I knew I had about 4 miles to go. I began walking, and about 1.5 miles in, somebody saw me, they picked me up, and because I was 1.5 miles away from my vehicle, they were able to take me to a gas station to get what I needed to go. Now, that car was driving towards my direction. That car would have eventually gotten to me. But because I decided that I was going to walk towards my destination, I connected with that car earlier, right? Now, you might have said, okay, yeah, that car was going to eventually get to me. Maybe that car might have taken a turn somewhere else before it got to me. Or maybe they lived on that street. They turned into a garage or a driveway before they got to me, and they would not have seen me. And so hence I would have been in my car complaining and not gotten to the point of rescue. But I made the choice that I was going to begin moving towards my destination. So I'll say that last part again. How you approach your current situation determines the speed at which you get to your destination. So how are you approaching it? Are you approaching it with complaint? Are you approaching it with whining? Are you approaching it with misery? Or are you saying, you know what? This is not the space that I'm meant to stay. This is not the place that I'm meant to be. This current situation doesn't determine my worth, my value, or who I am. Where I am right now is not where I will end up. If you are saying that, if you are embracing that, then I want to encourage you today to listen, keep pushing forward, keep pushing to your destination, and you're going to get there. You're going to get there. You're going to get to your destination because your mindset, your entire aura, the way that you approach things determines that. Your present situation, according to Zig Ziglar, and according to my Volkswagen story, is not your final destination. Your present situation is not your final destination. Hey, y'all, listen up. This has been the Monday Morning Get Up Show, and I hope that you found value in the message today. Do me a favor. If you found value in this message, text me, 410-936-4049, 410-936-4049, so that you can be on the message for next week's Get Up and Go, Monday Morning Get Up and Go. Do me a favor, invite someone, share the message with someone, and change somebody's life with this Monday Morning Get Up message. All right. Dwayne, so good to see you. David, so good to see you. Leslie, so good to see you. All my people on Instagram, Shady, Mariam, Tara, Taraji, Travis, good to see you this morning. So glad that you're able to join me for another episode of the Monday Morning Get Up and Go. I'll see you next Monday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.